They say every person carries a fire within them. Sometimes it burns quietly. Sometimes it threatens to consume everything. Sometimes we pretend it isn't there at all. But the truth is, the fire doesn't go away. It waits, it watches, and it tests us, especially when we least expect it. I didn't understand that until I heard the story of an old mountain blacksmith, a story that stayed with me for years and changed the way I look at struggle, pressure, and pain. It's a story I return to every time life becomes heavy, every time I feel the weight of circumstances pressing down like a hammer on an anvil.
Imagine a workshop standing alone near a cliff edge, touched by decades of smoke and storms, a place where the air tastes like iron and the floor remembers thousands of footsteps. People from the village came there with broken tools, bent hopes, and questions about life. And the blacksmith never turned anyone away. He wasn't just a craftsman, he was a philosopher, a teacher, someone who understood that metal and human beings are not so different. Both require heat, force, and time to transform.
One day, a young man arrived at his shop, shoulders heavy, face tired, voice filled with frustration. "My life is falling apart," he said. "I try and everything just collapses. Nothing works. Every step I take leads to another setback." The blacksmith didn't respond immediately. Words were tools for him, and tools should be used with purpose. Instead, he pointed toward a dull piece of iron lying next to the furnace. "That piece," he said, "looks solid, but hit it with a hammer, and it shatters." The young man shrugged. "So what? It's useless then." The blacksmith shook his head and lifted the piece with his tongs. "No," he said, "it's not useless. It's simply untested." He pushed the iron deep into the blazing furnace. The flames roared as if awakening from sleep, sparks flying across the workshop. The young man stepped back, instinctively shielding himself from the heat. You see, cold iron looks strong, but it's fragile. Only fire prepares it to be shaped. Without the flame, it has no resilience, no power, no purpose. He let the iron sit in the fire until it glowed bright orange, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then he placed it on the anvil and slammed the hammer down. The sound, sharp, loud, alive, filled the entire space. The young man flinched with each strike, but the blacksmith's expression remained calm, focused. "Every blow matters," he said. "Every strike is deliberate. But the hammer alone doesn't shape the metal. The fire softens it, opens it, makes it capable of transformation." The young man watched, mesmerized. "But doesn't the fire damage it?" he finally asked. The blacksmith paused, resting the glowing iron for a moment. "Maybe," he said softly, "but if metal could speak, it would tell you that the fire doesn't hurt it, it reveals it. Everything inside, all its strength and all its weakness, comes forward in the flame." Those words stayed in my mind for years, because isn't life like that? We try to avoid the fire, conflict, pressure, failure, heartbreak, difficult decisions. We think that if we avoid heat, we'll remain safe. But safety is not the same as strength. Safety may keep us comfortable, but comfort rarely shapes character. Comfort rarely builds resilience. Comfort rarely leads to the life you actually want. The blacksmith placed the iron back into the fire again and again and again. Each cycle made it stronger. "Metal that never enters the flame," he said, "never becomes anything more than it is. It stays unchanged, unimpressive, fragile." He then lifted a raw, untouched piece of iron and held it next to the forged one. "This one," he said, "is smooth, clean, unmarked. Most people prefer to look like this. No scars, no heat, no blows. But it is weak. One mistake and it bends forever. One fall and it breaks." Then he tapped the forged piece. It rang with a deep, confident tone, stronger, clearer, more alive than any raw metal could ever be. This piece has survived fire. It has survived pressure. It has been shaped by something bigger than itself. It does not break. It cannot be easily bent. It holds its form. The young man swallowed hard, understanding what the blacksmith really meant. Some people, the blacksmith said, avoid the fire their entire lives and spend their whole life weak. Others walk through the fire and discover what they're truly made of. That was the day the young man stopped seeing struggle as punishment. Then, to be honest with you, that's the day I stopped seeing it that way too. Because we are raised to believe that struggle means something is wrong. But what if struggle means something is beginning? Think back to your own life. Think about the hardships you thought would break you, the nights you couldn't sleep, the moments you felt lost, the plans that fell apart, the people who walked away, the failures that embarrassed you. Didn't those moments shape you? Didn't they reveal things you didn't know about yourself, your patience, your creativity, your strength, your resilience? There was a time in my own life when I felt like everything was collapsing. Financial pressure, personal disappointment, fear of the future, it all came crashing in at once. I remember sitting alone late at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why things had to be so difficult. But years later, I realized those were the exact moments that forced me to grow, to adapt, to learn, to become someone stronger. I didn't see it at the time, and maybe you don't see it right now. But the fire is not destroying you. It is preparing you for something bigger. The blacksmith once told the young man, "Strength is never given, it is earned in the fire." He explained that every powerful blade, every sturdy tool, every unbreakable piece of metal owes its strength to a period of extreme heat and pressure. Why should people be any different? You become wiser after you've made mistakes that embarrassed you. You become patient after life refuses to go your way. You become disciplined after procrastination costs you something important. You become resilient after you've been knocked to the ground and forced to get back up. You become brave after life leaves you no choice. Every strong person you admire has a past filled with fire. And guess what? They didn't just survive it, they used it. That's the power hidden in struggle, transformation. The fire doesn't ask your permission, it simply arrives. But what you do with it, that's up to you. You can let it burn you down, or you can let it forge you into something extraordinary. The blacksmith finished shaping the iron and placed it in water. Steam exploded upward, filling the shop with the smell of metal and earth. "The cooling," he said, "is just as important as the fire. You cannot live in constant heat. You must rest, reflect, breathe. But remember, rest is not quitting. It is preparation for the next step." As the young man prepared to leave, the blacksmith handed him the finished piece, a strong, beautiful tool, born from fire, shaped by force, strengthened by cycles. "Keep this," he said. "Let it remind you that strength is a process, not a gift." And maybe that's what you need to hear today. You are not weak for struggling. You're not failing because life is hard. You are not broken because things feel overwhelming. You are in the fire. You are being shaped. You're becoming stronger, sharper, more resilient than ever before. The flame is not your enemy. The flame is your forge. And one day soon, you'll look back at this moment, the pressure, the fear, the chaos, and you'll realize something powerful. This was the moment you were being made.